Hello, scholars. I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to take a moment to walk you through the genre analysis and research proposal paper because sometimes we are able to understand things better when we hear them spoken than just have directions read. So here we go. All right, the purpose of this paper is to direct the line of inquiry you'll be pursuing for the academic article, which is the large 10 to 12 page paper that will be due later in the semester. I promised you that this would not be like a one shot, you have to write all 10 to 12 pages at once, but instead there's smaller assignments that build into this, and this is the first step towards that bigger assignment. So what you're going to do is either choose the artifacts that you looked at for your genre analysis worksheet, or if you've decided that that is not a fruitful line of inquiry, informally conduct the same kind of analysis on 3 artifacts that you are interested in and turn that into the content of your genre analysis and research proposal paper. You do not need to recomplete the worksheet if you decide to change topics. However, the content of what you'd get out of doing that exercise of the worksheet is what you're going to be putting into the paper. So no need to fill one out and resubmit it, it's fine. But let's talk a little bit about that. So I know some of you were confused in terms of discourse community versus genre. Discourse community is sometimes a way into finding the genre that you want to talk about if you're not sure what genre you want to jump right into. It's not necessarily required that you have a targeted discourse community in mind, but if you were somehow struggling to come up with something you wanted to research, you might say, well, I'm someone that likes surfing. I follow surfing in a variety of different social media platforms, so maybe surfing would be the discourse community that I can follow to help me find 3 artifacts that talk about surfing, whether it's Instagram accounts or Reddit or YouTube or vlogs or writers that are discussing surfing or whatever it may be. As opposed to, I like following surfing on Instagram, or I just like Instagram, therefore I'm going to choose 3 Instagram posts to analyze, but I'm not sure which ones to choose. Oh, hey, look, I happen to follow 3 different surfing accounts. Those would be easy to pick one from each of those, or 3 from one of those to see if there's anything interesting happening in the acts of communication surrounding surfing. So don't concern yourself too much on the assignment prompt where it says discourse community. It's a symbiotic relationship. Discourse communities need genres in order to conduct business, conduct whatever it is they need to accomplish. And genres exist so that the repeating rhetorical acts are recognizable for certain groups that need to use them for certain purposes. So it's a relationship that is definitely symbiotic in nature, but you don't have to have a targeted discourse community in mind just yet. So don't let that throw you. That might be one of your lines of inquiry. Maybe it's, hey, I'm really curious as to what I can determine based on the messages themselves in these genres. What can I learn about the discourse communities that use them? Okay? So there's the relationship between genre and discourse community. So let's pretend, for the sake of argument, that you did your genre analysis worksheet. You chose 3 repeating acts of communication of some kind, and you were like, holy cow, I learned so much about the way this genre functions. I'm going to continue this with my paper. I'm really, really interested. I came up with some great proposed research questions on my worksheet. This is the way I want to go. That's awesome. So what you would do, or if you're going back to the drawing board and doing another analysis informally and now you have some observations gathered, what you'll do then is start off with Dirk. So the paper should be establishing what a genre is, right? If you think about the exigency of a genre analysis and research proposal, it's to prove that you have some analysis of a genre. So first you have to establish what a genre is, and what better way to do that than to lean on the framework of an expert, a writing scholar named Carrie Dirk, navigating genres, and establish then if Dirk says genres are whatever, insert quote or paraphrase. Then I have these observations. These are the repeating rhetorical acts, hint, hint, Dirk, repeating rhetorical acts, right? These are the repeating things that I see that I can then classify this act of communication as a genre. So let's say it's Instagram posts on surfing. I'm seeing these repeating things, therefore it meets the definition that Carrie Dirk and I have established, and I can call it a genre. That is where you transition and you show me that your research question at the end of that genre analysis, as you transition into the research proposal section of the paper, you'll be pointing me then directly to your line of inquiry. It should be pretty broad at this point. Something along the lines of how does social influence change or shape the genre of of surfing on Instagram? Remember that PowerPoint that I said you should come back to and would be leaning on? It's Bill Hart Davidson in the genre PowerPoint, where it talks about there are 4 forces that shape genres: social influence, reader expectation, institutional norms, and monetary forces. And if we look, there's evidence of any one of those things on any active communication that we can call a genre. So what you should do is pick one of Bill Hart Davidson's 4 forces that shape genres. You've established that your artifacts are a genre. Pick one of those that you want to investigate how it's shaping it. Reader expectations is a little bit where you would possibly look at the way comments on something or feedback that is out in the public arena influences the future shape of the genre of the act of communication. So let's say that you had a YouTuber that you liked and you looked at one video from that YouTuber. You then looked at the comments that are left from the subscribers and code them for positive and negative. And then look at future episodes from that same YouTuber to see if they have changed the way they're delivering their message based on the feedback they're getting from their subscribers. So that would be reader expectations. Social influence you could do by basically picking a couple of different content creators. I'd say probably more along the lines of like 3 to 5, maybe different Instagram accounts on surfing or different YouTube cooking show content creators, but picking a variety of people that are making those acts of communication or channels or whatever platform of communication, and looking for similarities and differences across them after analyzing them. I'd say for going forward towards the academic article, you probably need, if you're doing social influence, you'd need probably 3 to 5 accounts and probably 7 to 9 acts of communication or artifacts for each of those accounts that you'd be analyzing. So that's just an idea. It depends a little bit on the length. If you're like watching 2-hour videos, I'm not going to expect you to do 7 to 9 2-hour videos. But if it's something that's shorter and sweeter, the more data you have, the better you'll be. Because remember, this is different than a typical research type paper, in that you're going to have to do your own research this semester. You're going to have to do observations and analysis along with, that's your primary research, along with gathering secondary research, which is what other academics in the conversation are saying about your topic. So Stuart Green says that argument is conversation. No one is writing papers for an audience of 1 anymore. This is about furthering the academic community, right? So you, as a blossoming writing studies scholar, are now part of this discussion about some facet of writing studies and how it's influencing this active communication that you're already involved in and enjoy looking at. So the paper will be setting up the Dirk, setting up your observations. How do they marry in with Dirk? We can claim that it's in fact a genre. Then how does one of Bill Hart Davidson's 4 forces shape that particular genre? That's going to be your very broad research question. You can phrase it exactly like that. I'm interested in evidence of social influence on the genre of Instagram, surfing Instagram accounts. Then maybe list some of the sub-questions that you might have, like, is there evidence that this is an inclusive community or an exclusive community based on the way that they're talking or the way that they're writing their text? Is this, are they more community-oriented or are they more about the individual performer? Things of that nature. So those big picture things that we were looking at in terms of your observation on the worksheet, going a little bit further with that, and possibly some of those 5 questions that you drafted on the worksheet. So your research proposal part of the paper then is kind of spelling out for me what you're going to be looking at in terms of give me names of, I'm going to look at 3 different Instagram accounts under these names. They are all surfing accounts. One is a surfer, one is a journalist, one is just a fan. Give me that kind of information. So the what you're going to look at, and then the how. How are you going to be analyzing it? What are you looking for? Are you looking for, the composition of the photo if it's an Instagram post? You're going to be looking at what's in the photo, what is in focus, what's in the background, what is the caption, what does the caption tell us? What can we infer based on those particular things? Look at future assignments that we have coming up this semester. You have the annotated bibliography and CARS model introduction that will be due in several weeks, and there'll be some secondary research you have to conduct for that to establish your existing conversation. So that's a perfectly legitimate talking point of your research proposal, along with any other types of, give me an idea that you understand what you have to look at for the rest of the semester in terms of realistically making this happen for research. All right, so 2 pages is the genre analysis part with Dirk, and whatever other sources you need from our assigned readings to make those connections and those establishments. The research proposal part should be 2 to 3 pages. I don't expect it to be much more than that. I don't take off points if you do go over, but just be careful that you're not including extra information because you're not sure that you're meeting the mark. Sometimes we tend to kind of ramble and we want to make sure that we're covering all of our bases. So if you're getting more than 5 pages, I'd say take a look back and make sure that there's nothing that you can't maybe condense a little more effectively. And don't forget to use other secondary sources to back up your rationale for how you're going to conduct your research. We've got Savini, we've got Green, we've got the From Inquiry to Academic Writing textbook, you've got your Easy Writer textbook. You can also use Dassbender if you'd like in terms of critical thinking. Any of those is open. Bill Hart Davidson, of course. I gave you the information in the PowerPoint, and you can just Google that book to get the other publisher information. That's a completely legit way to do it. Amazon's an excellent place to get publication information on a book, and so you're going to have those sources, and along with your observations, creating a plan for research for the rest of the semester. Okay, I hope that this answers your questions and perhaps clears up some confusion about the upcoming assignment, and if not, please feel free to comment below asking me for more specific feedback. I'm happy to help you. Don't stress. We'll get through this together, and I think you're going to really enjoy the chance of doing some research that's interesting to you on a topic that you like, as opposed to some arbitrary topic that I'm assigning to you or you choosing from a list of 10 things. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.